Very few games are truly co-op experiences where you absolutely have to have that other player alongside you and working with you together in order to complete the game. Perfect Partner is one such game where this is an absolute requirement because it places you as two penguins in a party game where you have to work together to win the minigame. The problem is, you've got three other pairs of penguins potentially doing exactly the same thing, thwarting your progress or trying to beat you to it. This is Fall Guys, the Co-op Penguin Edition, and I am absolutely here for it. This game is hilarious, it's funny, it's got some weird idiosyncrasies to it, which I'll get onto later, but my overwhelming impression of this has been fun, frolics and stupidity, and I've thoroughly enjoyed myself. And I'll be coming back to this game time and time again. Upon launching Perfect Partner, you get the choice of playing single player or two player locally, and I recommend doing two player locally where you can, because you can coordinate much better with someone sitting alongside you, plus you can hit them if you've got it all wrong. With single player, there is a Discord server where you can try and arrange games with other people, but what I did find is that as a single player wandering around the different open lobbies, I'd quite often make a even lobby odd numbered and then you'd get booted, and that might just be because of that number issue, but I did also find there was a bit of a language barrier for me personally because I seem to be the token English speaking player in a very heavily Chinese based audience for this game. No judgment, but it's just you need Google Translate in that in that Discord server to work out what you're joining. Once you get into the servers themselves, everyone's got their own online lobby and that's completely customizable, as is your penguin, and it's all done through in-game currency that you can only earn by playing the game. There's no microtransactions here, no one penguin is stronger than the other, it's all about skill and working together, but the customization elements are all nice and fun and you just earn them very generously actually through the currency that you get through playing the game. The minigames are really where this game is at though, and it's because they're all designed in a way that you have to play them cooperatively. If you're a fan of Fall Guys, there is an obstacle course, there's several of them, and they're all based around water park themes. And whilst you're working together as penguins, you have to roove and jump, and you can do a dash, and that dash can be used as like a belly bump to knock off another player, because quite often your routes will intermingle and cross over on each other, so you can cause as much hindrance to other players as you can do by advancing your own run down these obstacle courses. However, quite often the best way to do with big long jumps is for one player to pick up the other and throw it over, and then once the other player's got there, they can turn around and then aim their grapple hook and drag the other player over. And it's that kind of back and forth and interplay that works really, really well. I found myself, I'm terrible at throwing players, but I'm all right with the grapple hook. So that worked for me quite nicely. But then it got into other games where I felt like I could show more of my strengths. So there's one where you've got loads of mahjong tiles everywhere and you've got to find matching pairs and then join them together with each other. So again, if you don't have someone playing the game properly, you struggle. There's other ones where you've got painter mode, where you're on a Etch-a-Sketch that will paint 3 different colours for a very simple painting. But it's on a total tilt surface, so you need to kind of run to one direction and tilt the painting canvas so that the marker paint can then flow and paint as much of the painting as possible. There's another one where you've got basketball courts, for example, and they're slightly less around playing together as a partner, but more around trying to get one person to have the shot and then the other person just kind of sabotaging the other players so that you can get a clean shot where you can. But the best games are really where you're having to work together. So other examples of that would be where you've got the spin race, and that's where you kind of spin around with an iron bar between yourselves. And so all you're doing is pressing space bar on the keyboard or X on your controller so that you can then stop the rotation and the next person spins around. But because there's 4 teams of you doing it, you all start bashing into each other and rebounding off and falling over. And so it becomes quite tight and quite frenetic very quickly. There's also, bizarrely, a calculator game. And so it gives you an answer, and then you have to then stand on the two numbers, so that you can then build the sum. That's quite cool. There's another one where you're collecting batteries, and then you've got a charged laser link between you, and so what you can do is then run through other players and zap them and steal their batteries. They're all really well designed, and there's about 20 of them, I think there is, in the launch of this game, with more to come later on. A couple of them are variations on the same themes. There's a couple of painter games, there's a couple of water park obstacle courses, for example, but lots of them are unique and individual, and they all are very well thought out. I have two minor quibbles with Perfect Partner. The first one is the woolliness of its controls. It is very floaty, and this, I think, ties into problem 2, which is, this might be for me because I'm in the UK and the vast majority of the players are all in China, a couple in Japan, so a couple of Koreans too. You've got everyone working together in Asia over there, and then that kind of ping then means that it's very difficult to be precise on your jumps and the various different movements that you've got. And that kind of ping lag does cause you unneeded deaths, and I was starting to find that people were getting quite annoyed at me because I seemed to be the one that was dragging the ping down because I was the token person not in China. So again, your mileage may vary. I've not had the ability to test this with other Europeans closer to home, and I don't want this to be like a geographical review because the game's fantastic, and even with lag and ping I'm still having a blast playing it. But I can clearly feel sometimes the frustration of other players when a game's over and it's clearly my lag that's caused us some delays. They then pick me up and then throw me in the sea. So yeah, good fun. But this game is an absolute blast, from the Super Monkey Ball levels to the silly water park levels to the rowing boat race where the boat speed is customised depending on how you finished in the last minigame. There's just tons of fun to be had, and yeah, it's great to see mini games and comedic party games just flourish like this in a new and interesting twist, and I can't recommend Perfect Partner enough for being a truly unique co-op party game experience. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/Higher Plane Network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.